Yeah, I think I probably need to surround myself more in kind of like film and music and design more, but I'm in a bit of a bubble at the moment with work.
Favourite Wes Anderson or Michel Gondry scenes or films?
Yeah, well, for Michel Gondry, The Science of the Sleep was one of my favourites for the whole cardboard world. It was just incredible.
My favourite is the car chase.
But yeah, that was so funny, and I was really inspired by that film, and I did this kind of cardboard room sets and stuff after that for photography. And that bit where he plays a piano and he plays a piano thing and knitting comes out. It's amazing. So I love that. And Wes Anderson, I have to watch The Royal Tenenbaums every Christmas. But I like all his films actually, and they're just they're so colourful and visual, and they've got these like weird kind of characters. Yeah, I love the weird characters. Probably my favourite creature is Cyril Squirrel Fox, who is here, just because I think he's got a lot of character in his face and his body, and he's been like one of the favourites for years, and people really kind of relate to him. He's been on TV and stuff like that. But favourite thing of all time, God, it's quite hard. I think at the moment it's probably one of the blankets that I showed to slide over the trees and things in it, because it's sort of more a recent thing, and it's quite well, it's black and white, which is different for me, and I don't know, I've got favourites that change all the time really. So.
Is there anything you remember sort of particularly making, you talked about your childhood creativity and how that sort of really kind of fed through. Is there something you can remember creating sort of as a child that still stands out in your mind?
As a child? God. I used to make, it's quite embarrassing actually, because I used to make candles and like plastic jewellery out of, and Fimo things, and like, so I just used to get any kind of craft kit thing. I would be like in my bedroom for hours and hours, like making things. And I used to have like a whole pot of like molten wax with a little burner, and my mum and dad let me have that in my bedroom. Yeah, I don't know. Nearly burnt the house down actually.
So an experimenter and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, God. I'm trying to think if there's anything that kind of kept. My granny actually, I did a doodle once when I was on the phone to like a boyfriend for hours, and my granny saw it, and it was the back of a book that was used for my dad's like accounts or something, and she was like, I've got to take this and frame it, Donna, and she cut it off, and she like got a nice like proper frame made for it and everything. She had it up in her living room and showed everyone that came in, and she was just the proudest person. It was like, oh, yeah, and I hated it. It was just like. It's quite important not to follow trends, because almost if I'm following trends, I'm kind of too late on doing it. It's already been done. So I'm trying to kind of not look at trends too much. It's quite hard not to, because you spend time like looking at blogs and Pinterest and all that sort of stuff, and you obviously subconsciously do pick up on stuff, but I try not to like be kind of too informed by it, and try and think of my own inspiration, and like, as I say, I got more inspiration from that trip to Fogo, because it was all new to me and it was all kind of fresh and first hand, and it's better that than just looking on the internet all the time, I think. So
that's really kind of refueled the creative tank.
Yeah, and I need to go away on another trip, I think, to get a bit of new inspiration. Because I think you're always inspired by things that are new and the first time you've seen them, and it could be like sweetie wrappers in a supermarket, or it could be landscape or colour or something, but yeah. I usually design specifically for a product, so I never, well, I mean, it's not that I'd never do it, but I do think that's sort of the downfall of some brands is they put the same design on everything, and then you get really kind of sick of it and you feel like it's gone really commercial and sold out. So I always try and, like, if I'm commissioned to design a scarf, I'll think, what do I want to have on a scarf? Or if I'm commissioned to design a carpet, I think about a carpet separately. So I try not to put the same thing. I know why people do it, because you might have a design that works on lots of different things, and that's great if it does, but I think I'll try and change it and sort of, what's the word, like try and aim it towards that actual end product before I've started it. I think it was special because it was an opportunity for me to do a solo show, and it's nice to just have like kind of the freedom to kind of do whatever you want and really kind of go to town with the kind of space and try and give people an insight into your own world, and it's quite kind of a nice, creating that kind of world, and it's a nice opportunity to be able to do that, and for people to go and see and go and touch it and go and, yeah.
And I'm interested in the sort of creative dynamic between those installations. The one you talked about in Glasgow, I remember one as part of the Knit Two Together exhibition at the Crafts Council.
That was one of the first ones, yeah.
That was one of the first ones, wasn't it, which was sort of marked a kind of...
it did, actually, yeah. And that was, I think it was in 2004, so I'd maybe just been out of college for 1 year, and there was a knit show at the Crafts Council curated by, was it curated by Freddie? No, I can't remember. Freddie and Katie Bevan, yeah. So she asked me to be part of it, and it was one of the first shows I'd ever done, and I think it just put my work out there to so much a wider audience, and lots of people went to see it. It was a really well attended show, and it was really, again, it was just showing like a little bit of the world that I've kind of started to create. So at the time I was just doing creatures and tea cozies, and I made a kind of tea party with the knitted grass and a knitted tree. That's right, that was
So how does that kind of, it strikes me that there's a sort of relationship between those opportunities to kind of take us into that world and to create that really immersive space, and then how that informs your sort of products moving forward.
No, it does, because you might get those opportunities and then end up doing something that you'd never expect, or you've never sort of thought about doing before, and then that kind of ends up being a product. So that from that we did tea cozies after that, or and and the same with working with collaborations. Like, I think it's really nice because you're not always sort of thinking about what to do, and when someone else comes into the equation, you have to like take their needs into it and their wants, and sort of work together, and you can create something really unexpected and really different, which is it's really great. And it's sometimes really difficult and challenging because it depends on the person, and they might have their ideas and you have your ideas in clash, but it's quite nice that out of that you can create something new. So those big sort of exhibitions and shows have been really important in my work, I think, because not only it shows your work to a bigger audience and a different audience, because not everybody that sees that show are going to buy your work, but it's just still nice for them to sort of know about you and see what you do and inspire them, hopefully. But then at the end of the day, I need to make my business work, so I need to make products that sell, and hopefully people will buy them. And so it
gives them a real authenticity.
It gives them a bit of a background, and exactly. It's a bit of a story, and it's all about creating a story, really. I've never been to Norway, and I'd really like to go to Norway actually, and I've been to some Scandinavian countries, and like I feel like I get a lot from that. Last year we went to Iceland, which was amazing. I really loved that. And I don't know why I'm always drawn to these kind of cold, remote places.
Maybe it's because you make woolen things.
It must be, because some people said, like, my partner said to me, like, let's just go somewhere really hot and nice and sit on the beach, and it really doesn't appeal to me. But no, I'd rather go somewhere snowy, and But I think like Scandinavians have an amazing sort of design aesthetic, so it's always quite appealing. Dream client? I always really respect Paul Smith, and I'd love to do something for him. Like people have commissioned me to do things, and I know he's got my creatures, but I'd love to meet him and have a good conversation. But it was so creative.
It strikes me as having a very sort of creative...
yeah, and a bit kooky and a bit sort of off the wall as well. So I don't know, I've never really thought about that before, who would be my ideal client, but yeah, I'd say him.
Excellent, good answer.
I'd say do it. I think if it's something that you're really passionate about, and you've got to be super, super determined, take knockbacks, be like, but it's the same with anything, not even just creative jobs. I think if you really want to do something, you can do it, and you've got to follow your heart. And I feel so lucky to be a creative person and actually make it a business and make it work. And I do meet people that say, oh, I'm really not happy in my job and I really hate it and it's really boring. And I think, oh God, you know, that makes me feel even more lucky. But you just have to do it, and it sometimes is scary and it sometimes is really stressful. But it's like anything, you know, just have to kind of get out your comfort zone sometimes.
And any top tip for sort of how to start
out,
or something you remember that helped you?
I'd say start really small, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't give up your job, and just, you know, have a part-time job to start with, and like make sure that you're not. Yeah, I think the business side is, if you want to make it pay, you have to go to these kind of workshops and learn about the business side a bit. But the best way to do it is just by doing it and trying it and sort of speaking to people and getting feedback from people. Don't get too sensitive. If people don't like what you're doing, take it all on board, and don't give up. Just keep going. And yeah, I don't look at that many different artists and designers, but I do. I wasn't really inspired by this Scandinavian designer called, oh God, what's his name? Well, American guy called Alexander Girard, and but the reason for that is because he does like textiles and graphics and crosses different, and ceramics and different boundaries. Oh, and then the other one was Stig Ludberg, who's a Scandinavian ceramicist, and he did the same, kind of crossing over different disciplines and stuff, so I seem to like that. A big kind of knitted cozy world with lots of pattern and colour, and I'd love to make it one day, like the whole thing, but maybe that'll be like my project when I retire, just start knitting everything. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from, but just well, actually, I'm hopefully doing a kind of animation with someone, with a film company. That would be really good if that kind of happens, and I've been meaning to do it for so long. So I'm hoping that might create a bit of a world as well. So yeah, be good.
So thank you, Donna. That's really, really insightful, and you're very generous with your story. So
thank you.
Thanks.